In today's video I've actually come down to the Fairy Glen at Appley Bridge near Wigan. I've come to photograph one of my old waterfalls. Now I'm going to try and get some more creative and unique compositions today, because in the past I've just photographed it head on. But what I want to try and do in this video is explain how you can actually get more from a waterfall location just by working the location a bit. I've actually brought my young daughter with me today. She's on her summer holidays, so she's going to be getting some photos of her own on her phone and enjoying the waterfall a bit. So let's get down to the waterfall, see what we can get. Okay, so I've made it to my first composition. I've also made it to the waterfall, which you can see is behind me here. Now, during the recent winters we've had, the storms, all that, so we've had some trees that have actually fallen down. And they're actually going right across my composition. Now, the first composition I've lined up, I'm actually set. I'll show you on the video. Now this video is going to be a bit cropped in, but this will give you a real idea of what I'm actually going for. I've actually zoomed into a point where I'm actually looking over the branch at the waterfall. I've got the waterfall making up the this side of the image here, which is the left hand portion of the image, and I've got the moss making up the right hand portion. That's the composition I'm going for first, simply because it's the most simple and straightforward composition to go for here. Now, one thing that these trees have ruined is any low shots or any other kind of movement in composition. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to go over to this bank over here. I'm going to shoot at the waterfall looking at it from the side and try and get a slightly different composition there. What I'm going to try and do also is utilise some of these trees as part of the foreground for the image. If this first shot's any good, it's coming up now. Okay, so this next composition I've got set up, I'm actually looking directly at the waterfall from the side. I've got all the green mosses on the opposite wall in front of me. Let me show you on the video. As you can see, the mosses are showing up quite vibrantly. Not so much in the video, and there is the crop factor on the video as well, but they are showing up nice and green. Every time I get a burst of light through, they do highlight just that little bit. The flow of the water, this water is nice and clear, so the flow of the water is nice and white in the image. It's creating a nice milky water effect as it goes down. I'm shooting a low enough shutter speed to actually create some movement in the water. I'm also shooting it to get that milky water effect as well. Using the greens as a contrast to the whites. Polarizer to take the reflection off all the rocks and the water, and to bring out the vibrancy in the greens. Hopefully that image will be pretty good. Now this is the first time I've actually shot this one from the side, so that's going to be quite a unique image for me. And the next shot I'm going to try and get to the other side of the branch that you're stood on at the moment. I'm going to use the mossy texture of the branch as a foreground. I want to try and make it so it's part of the image. I want to try and make it so it flows as part of the image. That one, that's not going to be so easy. If this image is any good, it's coming up now. Now I've got one last composition here that I'm quite happy with. I'm actually looking at the waterfall with this branch trailing off in front of me. Now if I just record a bit of video, I can actually show you here on the composition. I've got the branch flowing nicely off in front of the image. Rather than cutting across the image, it's just flowing into the image. There are some leaves here still on the still on an old branch on the tree. Now I did think of taking them off. This is a felled tree, so taking them off wouldn't really be a problem. So I decided to keep them anyway because that's how it looks. I don't want to change the nature of how the scene looks because I want it to look as natural as it is. If you come here, I want you to be able to see exactly what I'm seeing when you're here. How you modify your images is up to you, but I'm happy to keep it looking as natural as it does. Now, for this composition, I've got the flow of the water coming out of the top left-hand side of the frame. That's using that third of the image nicely, made up by the mosses, the moss on the trees, the rocks, and the overall look of the gorge that we're in. All in all, I think that makes for a nice image. It brings the elements together nicely. Hopefully you like it. I'll put it up in a moment, see what you think. Just so you know, there's a polarizer taking the glare off the water, bringing out the highlights of the greens, and more importantly, this is a 8-image focus stack. So I focused several times on the branch, several times on the rocks, and once on the background. Just create a nice image, nice sharp image all the way through. Because of the felled trees, this is the most I'm going to be able to get here. This is the most I'm going to be able to kind of exercise this location. I might go down to the bottom waterfall there, see if I can get a shot looking up. Either way, this image is coming up now. I've actually come down from the main waterfall to the one nearer to the bridge here. As you can see, just down here in front of me, I'm set up looking at this fern with the waterfall behind it. Now, put a bit of video on. Just record the video to actually show you the composition I'm working with. Now, there isn't much wind today, at least not down here in the gorge, so I've got the fern nice and sharp in the image with no movement whatsoever. I'm still able to get the long shutter speed for the actual waterfall behind it. So as you can see, the waterfall's making up this bottom corner of the actual composition, with the waterfall making up the middle of the composition, and once again we've got the greens surrounding the top edge of the composition as well. All in all, that's making a nice set of elements in the image. You've got the green, the white, then the green, making a nice balanced image. That's what I'm loving about that image. Let me know what you think. That's coming up now. So there we go, that's a brief video at Appley Bridge, the waterfall. Now, I was a little shocked to find that the trees have fallen in front of the waterfall, but such is life, eh? You still have to make the best you can of nature. It is what it is, and sometimes you don't get quite what you expect from a location, so you just have to make the best of it. I think in this case I've actually made some pretty good images. I am happy with those images, and well, I did better here than I did with Gasdeck Beck, so I can't knock that. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos. Now the content's coming a bit more frequent. I'm looking at upgrading my vlogging gear from the phone I'm using at the moment to quite possibly getting a GoPro again after losing my last one. That'll happen over time. Hopefully you'll stick with me with these phone videos in the meantime. Having such a long break from photography, it's good to get out again, so yeah, I'm enjoying getting the images back in. So for me and my little girl here,
hello,
that's my daughter.
My name is Isabella, by the way.
Yeah, it's for me and her. That's goodbye today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye for now.